I have been thinking about how to be me, and I realize this is not about me, but it's about God. I have thought of the idea of going on TikTok Live, Facebook Live, and I don't know, I guess just sitting in front of a camera to try to speak is something that I'm not used to. Doesn't mean I can't get used to it, but I'm just not. And I wanted to use this platform as an outlet to truly dive into what I believe that God would approve of me doing, which is to speak on what it really means to have a relationship with God. Sometimes we're so caught up in the rituals of, we wake up in the mornings and we know that we're supposed to pray because, growing up, we were taught by our mom or grandmother that, you wake up, the first thing you do is pray. We were taught that when before you eat your meal, the first thing you do, you pray. And so we focus our attention on these rituals, but not realizing that most times, because they're rituals, there's no meaning to it. Because it's a ritual, we just do what we're doing because it's a ritual. And I sat down the other day and I said, God, and I believe God was the one who brought this to my attention for me to really think on it. I said, what's a relationship, and what does it truly mean to be in a relationship with you? I mean, when we think about relationships, we're thinking about, marriage, friendship, a spousal relationship. When we think about relationship, we're talking about having that connection with other people that view the world different from how we view it. Some may view it the same way how we view it. The fact remains is we have a relationship with them. We get up, we talk to them, we text them, we video chat with them, we communicate with them. And likewise, we need to have that same relationship with God, where we communicate to God, we communicate with God. We need to have that type of relationship that allows us to truly hear from God. Abraham heard from God. He had that type of relationship. David heard from God. He had that type of relationship. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego all heard from God. And the scripture says that He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He is the same God. He doesn't change. Time will change. Season may change. Days will change. But God doesn't change. He is the great I am. He can be everywhere and anywhere at the same time. He came in the form of Jesus Christ, yet He was still in heaven, looking down. That's the type of relationship that I want with a God who knows me because He created me, a God who knows my limits because He knows who I am, a God who knows all my flaws, all my character flaws, a God who knows what makes me strong and what makes me weak. It is beneficial to be in a relationship with God, especially in the days that we're living in. Have you ever realized that persons who truly are trying to get closer to God, all of a sudden they're just by themselves walking alone? There's no friends, hardly any family, if any. They get left behind in terms of from the world, and that's fine, that's great. It's a lonely road to walk in terms of not having people on your back, but you know what? It's worth the loneliness of it, because at the end of the day, we may be lonely from the world's perspective, but we have God. Having a relationship with God is about communication. It's about talking to God about what truly bothers us. It's about reasoning with God and telling God what's going on in here. It's about being honest, not just with ourselves, but with God. It's about saying, God, I'm struggling. God, I'm struggling with lust. God, I'm struggling with speaking the truth. God, I'm struggling with not wanting to crave the things of this world. Help me, deliver me out of this. Just as how we are honest enough to speak to whether ourselves or to other people, to our spouses, we need to be honest enough to speak to God and to truly tell him what is on here, because that's what he desires, sincerity. How many of us today can say that we are sincere with God in our relationship with him? Do we just get up and pray and read the scriptures because it's a ritual, because it's what we were taught to do as a child growing up, and so we just get up and do it because it becomes a part of us as a ritual? Or do we actually have a relationship with God because we come to the realization that we were created not for ourselves? God created us for his glory and his honor. That God created us that his will and his desires may be fulfilled. It amazes me how the angels have free will, just as how we do, and just as how some of them made the decision to fall with Lucifer, you have those who made the decision to stick with God. And it amazes me how they have free will and they chose to stick with him, to defend him. Not that he needs to be defended, but it's the relationship they have with him. I crave that level of relationship. What about you? I desire that level of relationship, that level of commitment. But like with any other relationship, sacrifices have to be made. You get up, you say, boy, I don't feel like fasting today. But then you decide, you know what, I am going to do it because it's bigger than I am. God, I don't feel like speaking to this person today. I'm hurting inside. Yet God still uses you, if you allow him, to minister to someone who is hurting, maybe just as how you are, maybe worse than how you are, maybe less than how you are. But this reminds me that it is not by my works that we are saved, but by God's grace. Does that mean that we get permission to continue to sin and do as we wish? Absolutely not. Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego had that level of relationship with God that when they were in trouble, they got rescued immediately. David, a murderer, an adulterer, one who lusted after another man's wife, coveted another man's wife, sent another man to the front of the battle to die because he did not want to sleep with his wife while his men were in battle. This is the man who God says is after his own heart. And you know why? Because David had that level of relationship to know when he was wrong, to know that when the prophet came to him to basically show him himself and to let him see that he was wrong, he still stood by God and he acknowledged he's wrong. He confessed and then he repented. That's the level of relationship we all should crave. The time that we're living in, the era that we're living in, can't we not all see that it's coming to an end? And there is a new era coming that is way better than this. That all this that we're holding on to, all this earthly legacy that we're craving to, that we're trying to grasp with the last breath, is nothing. And if we had that level of relationship with God, we would recognize that it is nothing and it means nothing. It is meaningless, because at the end of the day, every Hollywood star that is on the ground is going to be destroyed at the coming of God. Every movie's ever made with movie stars, every music ever made with high-profile stars, they're all going to be gone, remembered no more, except for those who go to hell. I'm just tired of business as usual when it comes down to us human beings. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of it not because I see someone else do it, I'm tired of it because I did it. I'm tired of it because it just makes no sense that we continue to do this over and over and over, and we get the same results, but yet we're still doing the same thing. And I'm just tired. I'm tired, and I just want to establish that high relationship with God to a level that is so beyond me. It is not about me. And I just wish that we all could think like that consistently. It's like Paul says that when I try to do good, evil presents itself. And I'm just tired of being the norm. I'm tired of being the statistic. I'm just tired of being what the world expects me to be. And I have decided that I want to be different. And in order for that to happen, I have to be committed to my relationship with God. I have to do things that I feel like I don't want to do. I have to get up and read the scriptures even when I don't feel like I want to. I have to get up and pray even when I don't feel like I want to. I have to do these things. I'm just convicted by this because I've come to the realization that all these things that I've been running after and focusing my attention on is meaningless. It's nothing. I'm busy here trying to accomplish all these things, but yet my relationship with God is deteriorating. And that was where I was. And that is where I'm coming out of even now as I speak to you. You know, James says in the book of James chapter 1 that count it pure joy when you face persecutions of many kind. And it's not easy to be on the road that we're on. No one says it would ever be easy, but I just genuinely believe that if we just commit to God and just improve our relationship with Him, improve our communications with Him, I genuinely believe that we will hear from Him, that He will come and heal us and restore us. And even if He doesn't, even if, let's say, we're sick and we've been praying and asking God for healing and that sickness has become a thorn in our flesh, we have that relationship with Him just like Job. We have that relationship with Him that says, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. How precious is the death of this, how precious are the death of the saints in the eyes of the Lord. If we could just put everything behind us, stop thinking about death. Stop thinking about, you know, what you want to be in the next 5 years. We're so beyond that. Like, we need to recognize why we're here and why we were put here on earth. I'm just floored at the fact that for all these years, I thought I had a genuine relationship with God, but it was a ritual relationship. And when I found that out, and this was me when I was at work, that God brought this to my attention, He convicted my heart. I just started to think on it. And when I think on this, it's just, I just wish, and I pray, rather not wish, I pray that everyone who watches this video, I don't care if it's one person, I don't care if it's two persons, I pray that you be convicted by what God is doing and that you will thrive to develop and improve your relationship with God. Because whether you know it or not, you will die one day. We all will. Whether you know it or not, this world is going to end at some point. The question is, what side will you be on the day of judgment? Remember, your works can't save you. It doesn't matter how many souls you minister to and how many souls you bring to the throne of God. It doesn't matter how many poor you fed, how many persons you gave the clothing to. If your relationship with God is not solid, you did it all in vain. You did it for nothing. You don't get credit for it. You don't get merit for it. Because God is going to say, depart from me, I knew you not. I don't know you. Anyway, I'm not gonna say anymore. I'm just gonna leave it here and just pray that God will allow this to touch every person that listens to this and every person who hears this. I just pray that God will convict your heart. Every person who is watching this, I just pray that whatever hurt you have, whatever it is you're struggling with, I just pray that you have the courage enough to develop that relationship with God where you can just be honest with him. I don't care if you want to get angry at him and tell him just tell him how you really feel. That's how your relationship will start. That will start the foundation. Tell him what truly is on your heart. Don't use big words. Don't try to use proper English if you don't know it. Use your language. Use whatever it is. Just talk and release yourself so that you can start releasing others. God bless. GBP Ministries Studios. Connecting you to God through Jesus.